Okay, are we live? Anybody who's here, can you let me know if you can hear me, see me, and if everything's all right with the technical side of things before we begin? Okay, cool. Just please let me know if you can hear me so I can like actually start the thing. Because it's always this possibility that I'm actually speaking to myself and nobody can hear me. So just want to make sure before we actually roll with the whole thing. Okay, that's great. That's awesome. All right, so it's cool to be here again with this, new tradition of having live streams on the major equinoxes and solstices. This time around, we are meeting up for the summer solstice, which is very exciting. I love this time of year. It's so intense, so fiery, but also so satisfying. So, for folks who are here for the first time, maybe weren't on our previous live stream, the way I go about this is that at the beginning, I just want to do like a casual catch up, talk about stuff I've been up to and like some of my summertime favorites in various random categories that are not related at all to my usual content. And then we will move on to answering the Q&A questions that I got. And then lastly, we will move on to me doing free tarot readings for you. So just so you know, I will remind you when we get to the asking questions and reading part of the live stream, but I ask for folks who will want me to answer your question or to read cards for you to write your question in caps lock so that I can clearly see it in the chat and so that I don't miss it. But other than that, it should be fine. So it's awesome to see everybody. Yeah. So I've been in this really kind of exciting but also very very busy period of doing like the very last edits to my book with the editor from the publisher. So it's been just such a speed run or rather like multiple speed runs. I'm doing this for the first time obviously, so it's something new for me. But I'm so glad that we are now complete with all of those edits, and the book is finally like moving to the like further parts of production, which, as you know, takes a really long time because the book is coming out in December. So yeah, still very interesting to kind of observe this thing coming to life. Thank you so much. So anyway, some of my faves, which I always like to talk about. We will talk about my favorite decks this time of year. We will talk about my favorite fragrances, just like last time. And then some favorite beats when it comes to journaling, because some of you know I am a journaling nerd, and books as well. And then we will move on to the Q&A and then to the free readings. So that's how we are rolling. So when it comes to the decks, really, I have been so busy that I haven't had the time to like fuck around with decks the usual amount that I tend to do this time of year. So really, my fave has been the good old Mary L. Tarot. Maybe some of you know this deck. Probably many of you do. It's like an oldie at this point, right? So this is a deck that has been with me for a very, very long time at this point. And I've had like various ups and downs with it over the years. But we are currently, again, at a stage of being in love. So that's been great. And also another deck that I've been enjoying a lot has been the Ukrainian Night Tarot. And this is like a demo, basically. This is not the full deck. I was sent this to like check it out, basically. But I've been actually, even though I usually do not like to use like decks that are just majors or that are not full, I have been enjoying this so much that I've actually been, reading with it, even though it's just majors and like a few of the court cards and a few minors. It's honestly great. I can't wait for this deck to actually come out. I did back it on the Kickstarter as well to get the full version. So stoked for this. Like the symbolism in this stuff, if you are into Slavic culture and Ukrainian culture, especially, like, oh my God, yeah, it's amazing. So I've been really hyped about it actually. Yeah, I can't wait to get it too. It's going to be amazing. Like for real, for real. I think this is like the Slavic deck like that I'm the most excited about ever so far. And I do have another Slavic themed deck here that I'm going to be reading for you folks today with. So I do like that one, but it doesn't really compare. So these two really have been all that I've been using when it comes to tarot, as I don't have much time to fuck around with decks otherwise. Now moving on to fragrances. Last time I've been talking about, like, springtime, coming into springtime, so it's been quite dark still, and the fragrances kind of did reflect that as well. Now usually when it comes to like spring, summer, I would be using, more like warm weather friendly fragrances, but it's been so cold in May and like the first half of June, honestly. Like only the past week maybe we've been having the usual weather that we should be having this time of year. The weather has been really out of character, which I guess makes sense due to, climate crisis and all of that. So that kind of seeped into the fragrances I've been using because they've been darker than usual. And there's three that I've been like mainly into this time of year. And first of all is this is a vintage Midnight Poison by Dior. Yeah, it's a classic and it's one of my favorite scents ever, honestly, fragrances ever. It's like, my staple notes, which is like bergamot, rose, and patchouli with some like amber in the background. I love the combo of the three, so this has been one that I've been using a lot. And also, honestly, like because it's old, it's vintage, and you can tell that it's aged, and I don't think you can actually get this anymore fresh enough to still smell the same as it used to back in the day. The one I have, I think, is like from 2010 or 2009. So it's like 15 or 16 years old at this point, and you can tell that it's aged. So I also use like dupes of this scent because they are fresher than the actual vintage, if that makes sense. So, oh yeah, Poison is also a good one. I don't have that one, but someday, maybe this winter or something, we will see. Other than that, I've been into two fragrances that are kind of out of my character, honestly, a tiny bit. So the first one is La Nuit Trésor, but it's the Le Parfum, which has different notes than the usual in the line. And it also is very, very minimalistic in terms of notes. It's like black currant, rose, cacao, and patchouli, and that's it. And this has been such a comfort scent, honestly, for me when it's been like rainy or cloudy the past couple weeks. I've been really loving this one. And lastly, um, Angel Stellar from Mugler. This one is also minimalistic in terms of notes, and it's like bergamot, pistachio, and patchouli with some like um, bourbon vanilla in the background. So it's very like from the pistachio, it's not really like all that Dubai chocolate stuff. It's actually more like very nutty and very earthy with the patchouli in the background as well. So this, even though it's kind of like suffocating, I would say, so not really good for summer. But with the cold weather, I don't use it right now because it's warm now. But with the cold weather, it was kind of perfect to pretend that it's warmer than it actually was the past few weeks. So these are the three that I've been really enjoying, like, in this time entering into summer, which was rather cold. And also, I just recently mentioned on the Discord as well that I finally had the chance to test from Serge Lutin, the La Fille de Berlin, which is like rose, and it smells like wooden rose scented rosaries. And I totally got obsessed. And by the way, Mary Grace Faroon recommended me that scent. So Grace, if you're watching, like, thanks. I am digging it a lot, and I actually did purchase yesterday because I really love it. So yeah, that's kind of where I've been. Oh yeah, Alien. Yes, of course. That's been like my signature scent for a very, very long time, for like over a decade, in all my 20s and so on. So yeah, that one I'm really familiar with. And funnily enough, like this one, the Le Trésor Nuit, is kind of like a powdery sister to Alien, which is weird because it doesn't have the same notes, but still for some reason they are kind of like sisters. Like that one is very out there and, kind of weird and loud and obnoxious. And this one is more like an introverted, bookish one in comparison, so kind of funny as well. But yeah, that's it when it comes to fragrances. Just one thing when it comes to makeup, this, like, guys, okay, I know I don't talk about shit like this normally, right? But I need to geek out because I'm a huge Lord of the Rings nerd, and this is a makeup palette from Middle Earth. Basically, it's from Glam Light. It's really cool, and I've been digging it so much, honestly. So just wanted to shout it out. But anyway, moving on from that, when it comes to journaling, also very minimalistic the past few months. I've been just enjoying my Twisby Echo, the kind of, I don't remember what they are called, but this is like the milky coffee one with the Waringal Metamorphosis ink, which is like kind of brown or something between like brown and blood red. Honestly, I've been really digging this. And when it comes to journaling, like nothing changed. The only thing we added, or I added, I guess, is like filling a new grimoire, which we've been doing with the Toad Pond. So that's been really fun to do in spare moments as well, and be able to do some little sketches around and add my favorite formulas and prayers and all of that. So that's what I've been enjoying as well. And lastly, when it comes to books, because I've been on this like editing speed run, I haven't had as much time as usual for reading, or at least as much as I would like. But I finally finished reading Clavis Goetica, Keys to Ctonic Sorcery by Frater Acher. Again, like, can somebody tell me how to say his name properly? Because I have no idea. And I really enjoyed that book so much because it's, as it turns out, he included quite a bit of like lore from Lower Silesia, where I actually live, especially about a German occultist who was actually doing some workings around here where I live. So it's been such a fascinating read. And if anybody like here watching this from Europe, especially, if you maybe have like a physical copy of that book and you would like to resell it, please let me know, because I would really love to have a physical copy of that book. It's like out of print for a while now, so I only have it in ebook, but I highly recommend reading it to folks who are into, Ctonic sorcery and old school grimoires and kind of this nerdy side of it where you actually analyze old grimoire texts. That would be right up your alley if you like that stuff. So now that I'm finished with that, I'm kind of trying to pick my next read, and I'm basically torn between Ingenium, which is another book by Frater Aher, or reading the book by Anais Besova, Russian Witchcraft Veretnichestvo. I have it on Kindle because it's not available in Europe in like physical format. So I've been kind of trying to decide which one to read next, honestly. Yeah, we'll see. So that's where I've been book wise. And that's about it when it comes to the catch up and faves and stuff like that. So we will now move on to the Q&A part, and I do have some questions that were asked to me via the NGL link, and on Instagram. So I will go through these first. And basically, if at any point during this live anybody has a question for me, you can, as I was saying, type it in caps lock in the chat so I see it. Okay. So the first one that I have here, it kind of made me laugh, honestly, because somebody asked, is there Polish folklore on the bubr? And I am pretty sure, like 90% sure, that whoever asked this question is asking about bubr is beaver, by the way, the animal. And I'm like 90% sure that whoever asked this, it's because of the memes, like, the Polish meme with the guy who sees a beaver and is like, kurwa bober. So, yes, to answer your question, we do have beaver folklore in Poland, and I do have a funny tale for you to actually tell you about this. So listen up, folks. So generally speaking, in Polish lore, you can say that beavers are kind of perceived as having a similar personality or character to human beings, especially the more like sassy folks, who are very edgy and like guarding their boundaries and being kind of snappy, that kind of stuff. So that's beaver for you, at least according to Polish lore. But there is a tale, and it's again like hilarious in my humble opinion. So it says that once there was a fisherman, and he just happened to meet Jesus, who was traveling the world at that time and was crossing his path, basically. So Jesus pretended to be a hungry beggar, and he asked the fisherman for a small fish so that he could feed himself. To which the fisherman he slapped his butt and replied, "Tu mi ryba rośnie," which basically says like a fish will grow here, basically in his ass, right? Which translating from Polish, that would be like, yeah, sure, I'm not going to give you a fish. And so, Jesus listened, and he turned the fisherman into a beaver. And beavers, if you look closely, they actually have a tail that kind of resembles a fish. So, according to Polish folklore, that's actually like a fish sticking out of his ass, basically, So, yeah, to this day, in the place where normal like animals have tails, the beaver has a fish as a kind of curse from Jesus himself, right? That's the tale of how beavers became a thing in the first place. I really love it. But other than that, in Polish folklore, there's also uh, like this folk medicine part of things where basically people believed that the genitals of beavers possess some kind of like magical powers of healing, especially hysteria, but also other diseases. So it was very much hunted. The animals were hunted for their genitals so that they could be used in folk magic practices. But apparently, according to Polish lore, beavers found a way to protect themselves from being hunted for medicine, and they could basically like bite off their own tail. Or bite off their own genitals so that they are no longer desirable and thus kind of save their own life in this way. So yeah, that's basically kind of the folklore around the beavers. I was just so uh I was laughing a lot when I saw this question. Honestly, it's kind of funny. Anyway, another question that I got was, how big is Saint John in the Polish solstice? I'm guessing like in the Polish solstice lore. So Saint John the Baptist, right, whose feast day is today, by the way. He's very much tied to summer solstice festivities. And by the way, if you would like to learn more about that, we do have this live stream on my channel where I talk with other Slavic people from other regions and we compare the lore of summer solstice and summer traditions. So there's more information in that live stream as well. But just to like give you the gist of it, folks back in the day, they didn't have ways, at least here in Poland, to like actually calculate dates of solstices and equinoxes, stuff like that, because these are calculations that are done with like astronomy calculations and math and all of that. And our ancestors, at least the peasantry, the common folk, didn't really have access to that stuff. So they celebrated equinoxes and solstices, so those shifts in seasons, more so based on feast days of saints, or on the lunar calendar instead, because the moon was easily observable and its cycles were easily observable. So that's how our ancestors usually timed these things in the past. So the feast day of Saint John the Baptist is basically the old summer solstice, or the old midsummer celebrations that we recognize not only in Poland but also across Europe. So all the lore that is applied, or like considered these days to be applied to summer solstice in Polish folk tradition, would be also applied to Saint John the Baptist's feast day, and especially the eve, so the night before, right? So like last night, many folks who don't consider themselves pagan but more so like folk practitioners would actually celebrate it on the eve of Saint John instead of the equinox, just to be like more in tune with the older way of observing and calculating those traditions. So the staples are like, because John the Baptist, he baptizes, so he blesses with water, right? And with summer solstice, a lot of the lore has to do with like this fusion of water and fire, the blessing of water and fire, so that water finally becomes safe. So you can swim in it, for example, without being killed by the malicious water spirits and so on. So all these festivities also have to have a lot to do with fertility, finding somebody to fuck, basically. The mythical fern flower is kind of like a code word for getting laid in the forest, right? So again, if you want to know about the details of that lore, you can watch that live stream, because there's a lot more that we share in there in depth. I don't want to do that here because we would be sitting here for like an hour, and we don't want to do that, right? So these are I think the main questions that I wanted to answer. And then I also have one that I saved, that somebody basically asked for, like the free reading part of the live stream. So now I guess we can move on to the free readings part. So if anybody present here during the live would like to get a free reading from me, please type your question in caps lock in the chat so that I don't miss it. Okay. Although today the chat is kind of slow, so we should be all right. I hope I'm still here anyway. So yeah, let's move on with that. And I do have a few decks here that I'm going to be reading with, but I guess we will start with the Slavic Legends Tarot, just because it's kind of like summer solstice themed. At least a lot of the pictures seem that way for me. So I hope that whoever asked this question, it's anonymous, so I have no way of saying who that was. I hope you're watching or rewatching the stream later so that you are able to get your reading, basically. So this person asks, I am wondering what my next step is on my spiritual path and what messages my ancestors have for me. So these are actually two questions, but let's roll with it. So what are your next steps on your spiritual path? Okay, so I actually got two cards. Just kind of came together. I was waiting to pull one, but that's what we've got. So we got the Empress and the Nine of Cups. And in terms of, next steps on your spiritual path, I would say that whenever the Empress pops up, at least the way I perceive it and I read it in this context, it would have to do with, getting in tune with the agrarian cycle in whatever way feels appropriate for your practice. It's hard to tell because I don't know who asked this question, so I don't know what your practice looks like. But if you are practicing anything similar like me, which would be animism and folk magic, with the Empress, it's kind of calling you to maybe be more present with the natural cycles, to observe the seasons, and to incorporate that more into your craft. Not so much, getting information on that from books or reading about the wheel of the year or that kind of stuff. Not really. Go out there, be present, do experience the cycles that are happening around you now, live, and in a personal way, in a direct way. That's something that's definitely coming up. And with the Nine of Cups, I would say to take pride in that in a way, to see that as a way of elevating where you are, of noticing where maybe you've already been but not recognized previously. So I think that's a cool way forward for you. And now to answer the second part of the question, what messages my ancestors have for me. Let's see what the ancestors want to tell you. Hi, everybody. So, what messages do your ancestors have for you? Okay. Knight of Coins. And I think this is very kind of in line with the global situation right now. We are very much living in times of uncertainty, of global conflicts, and so on. And the Knight of Coins, I think, is like the prime reaction that you can expect from your ancestors, who a lot of the times were very experienced in going through this stuff, going through wars, displacement, poverty, hunger, and so on. They are basically telling you to take stock and to kind of see where you are, see if you are covered, basically, if you have all of your base needs kind of taken care of. It's not really calling for you to freak out and be anxious about the situation, but more so to see where you are, see what you can do to prepare yourself, to make sure that you are in a kind of stable situation, having a realistic outlook on the situation, see where you can potentially be impacted, just to make sure that you are not kind of putting yourself at risk should stuff go down in any unpredictable ways. At least that's what I'm getting from it. And as I say, like, I kind of see this as a very prime reaction of the ancestors when they hear about this kind of stuff. At least what I've been noticing as well, kind of coming up with working with the dead. So yeah, I hope this helps. Let me just take a sip of coffee. All right, so let's go on with the next question. Bonsai the Destroyer is asking, what is the best way for me to move forward in my spiritual practice? Let's see. Okay, we got two cards again, by the way. For some reason, they are kind of coming in pairs today so far. And we got the Ace of Coins and the 10 of Wands. The glare is annoying me. Can you see that? I hope you can. So to me, this combination is kind of speaking of minimizing things. The Ace of Coins is showing you like the foundation, the basis, making sure that you drop everything that's not necessary and kind of strip everything down to the authentic source in your practice right now. And the 10 of Wands is like this looming kind of, maybe not danger, but just something to keep in mind, that if you progress at the current pace, you might get burnt out or overwhelmed with engaging with too much shit, like having too much on your plate, you know? So again, the Ace of Coins is asking to, or calling you in really, to consider how can I make my practice more minimalistic, you know, and to make sure that maybe you are engaging more often rather than with more stuff, you know. So just maybe focus on one practice and do it regularly. See what you actually need the most right now, you know, what would nourish you the most, because the Ace of Coins is also like the seed that needs cultivating and tending to so that it can sprout. I hope that this helps. Alrighty. Irene Zaleski is asking, will the doctors be able to find what's wrong with my health? You know, just to be clear, whenever I pull cards for health matters or like legal matters, stuff like that, just please make sure that this is just a reading, and theoretically we should assume that it's for entertainment and shouldn't be obviously taken as like health advice, stuff like that. Just, you know, just so you stay safe. But I'm sure you know that. Let's see. Oh, oh. Sorry, my cards just wanted to jump out. We got the Lovers. So in, you know, this context, I would say it's not entirely clear because it seems like they might be torn between options, and maybe they need some kind of push really to figure things out. That's as much as I am willing to interpret here, because again, this can kind of be, you know, dodgy. But I hope this helps. Like, they haven't fully arrived. Maybe they need some more information, maybe another test, something to add to the base of knowledge that they have access to at this stage. But I'm wishing you good luck. I hope that, you know, whatever it is, they will be able to figure it out, because none of us like to be kept in a dark place when it comes to health matters. That's no fun. So, yeah, fingers crossed, and wishing you good health, Irene. Okay, so we have Bewitched by Ghosts, Brandy next. I'm on the cusp of leveling up creatively and professionally. What should I stay aware of at this time? Well, congrats! Because either way, this sounds exciting, so I'm happy for you. What should you stay aware of at this time? Okay, yeah. This is gonna be cliche as fuck, but you know, sorry, this is what the cards are giving me. So we got the Page of Coins and the Page of Wands. So it's like, you know, basically reminding you that leveling up is great, but it's also nice to be able to keep at the back of your mind this kind of beginner mindset, with especially things that have to do with creativity, like physically doing creative stuff with the coins, as well as all of the kind of uh, action oriented things that you can do, the creative ideas that burst forth whenever you are in your kind of zone creatively. So with the coins as well, it might have to do with finances too. I don't know how it's looking in that regard, but it just seems like what you should keep in mind, or what you should stay aware of at this time, is to make sure that you are keeping your mind open. Maybe this leveling up situation that you're finding yourself in will require a fresh kind of approach sometimes, or maybe learning something additional to add to your repertoire of skills to be able to fully enjoy that level up, you know? So that's what I'm getting. But it seems really exciting because this energy of the pages is always just so fresh and nice. So really, when it comes to like creative matters, that's what we want to hear, I suppose. Alrighty, let me take another sip. Okay, so Kofuku says, I'm chronically ill and I'm in a huge both mental and physical health. How will this go on from now on? What should I change in my life to get better? Any messages from my spirit guides and ancestors? So I will focus on messages from your spirit guides and ancestors when it comes to this, as again, that feels like a good way to answer this question. And again, this is no medical advice and nothing like that, just to, be clear. So, what do the spirits and ancestors want you to know in this regard? How can you, or what should you change in your life to get better? Oh, wow. Interesting. We got two majors. So the spirits and ancestors aren't fucking around with answering this. That's for sure. They mean for you to, take it seriously. We got the magician and strength. And both of these are cards of personal empowerment, I would say. So it seems that, at least that's what I'm getting from the card. So if it doesn't apply, just, feel free to ignore. But it just seems like maybe at this stage, you feel doubt in yourself, or maybe you are kind of resigned and like exhausted with the situation, which honestly, like, no wonder, right? Because dealing with chronic illness is no fun and it takes so much of your resources. So sometimes when you are in a situation like this for a prolonged period of time, you may feel kind of lost in that feeling of helplessness. So focusing on personal empowerment and kind of reigniting your own spark in whatever ways that actually make you feel better about yourself, as a human being, whatever that may be. It just seems like you may really need it right now in order to be able to cope with the situation and maybe change your life for the better, right? Because both the magician and the strength are speaking about where can I find this personal power to tap into? Where can I feel rooted despite what's occurring right now? And the magician might be indicating that there's something in this regard that can be tapped into within you. But also the strength card is signifying that you might also find some of that empowerment with or from the environment around you. This could be like a support network of people you can trust. The spirits around you and the ancestors definitely have your back. You just have to ask for aid and for support and to be held in this situation. So that's what I'm seeing anyway. I hope this helps, and wishing you, of course, good health. And if you are wishing for change, I'm wishing you so that the change may come to you. Okay, so the next question is from Akami. I hope I'm saying the name correctly. Is spirituality the field that I should focus on for pursuing my career? Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm guessing like you want to have some kind of bees related to spirituality. Let's see if that's the path you should pursue. You know what? We have kind of like an ambiguous answer. I will be honest with you, because we got the Page of Wands first, but then the Ten of Wands. So both of these cards, right, are from the Suit of Wands, which has to do with, in the context of asking about spirituality, they have to do with the kind of like inner spark that connects you to your path, that makes you inspired and kind of open and receptive to these energies to be able to continue this work. And it seems that you are, with the Page of Wands, you are starting with great enthusiasm, and that you are really like dedicated to this and really want to do it. But then you need to pay attention to getting overwhelmed and getting burned out. And this is honestly, like, that's kind of beside the point of the reading, but what I'm noticing quite a lot, like kind of being in this bees, you could say, that this happens quite often. That as soon as people start doing this as a full-time job, as a career, uh it's not the same anymore. It may turn from being something that you always really loved doing and that inspired you, towards feeling like it's a chore, like you are kind of forced to do it. So just consider, if you really want to pursue it, that this might actually happen, that your approach to spirituality might go sour in a way. This, of course, as a warning, means that it can be prevented if you put like active measures towards ensuring that that doesn't happen. Just making sure that there's good like work life balance, making sure that you are not sacrificing your personal spiritual practice just for the bees. Like, these two things should be separate. All of that stuff, there's a lot that I could talk about here, but yeah, that's kind of like a ambiguous one. So make of that what you will. This could be seen as a potential warning, just to make sure that um you don't start hating what you're doing, basically. Anyway, I hope it's helpful. Yeah, I'm definitely not one of those readers who will always say only positive stuff. So I just kind of yap whatever comes from the cards and from the guidance. So yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, blood magic B. Steph is asking, I feel like I'm starting on a new journey in terms of what I value and prioritize. What messages do my ancestors have around this for me? Okay, so a new journey in terms of what you value and prioritize. And do the ancestors have any messages or advice for you in this situation? Let's see. Oh, oh, wow. Okay. Whoa. Give me a second. I just need to like look at this properly. Oh my God. That's intense. It's not bad. It's intense. Okay. Let's go for it. So we got the Nine of Wands and Death. So yeah, as I said, pretty fucking intense if you ask me. Nine of Wands is obviously indicating that wherever you are right now, you are so fucking tired of it. Like, you persevered through so much, but still you are on top of things. Like, this is not a situation where, I don't know, you are like lost or defeated or anything like that. You are like standing your ground properly. But again, like, just so fucking fed up with wherever you are within right now. And so this new journey maybe is very much needed to kind of shift values and priorities, right? And death is clearly indicating, like, dude, just fucking drop all of that shit that's making you exhausted and go for it. That's what I'm getting, literally. Like, I love this. This is like so sassy, so intense, so fiery. Like I'm kind of happy for you, honestly, because it seems like the ancestors are just like, go for it. Cool stuff. Okay, the next question is from Venelestes. I often think about my maternal grandmother lately. What should I take away, etc.? I'm guessing like take away from this thinking about her a lot, right? If there's a message there or something you should pay attention to, or basically anything. Wow, okay. We just got a card like fly the fuck out of the deck. Interesting. We got the world. In the context of reaching out to spirits in general, and in this case to your grandma, right? The world, in my humble opinion, is always like this beautiful indication of the spirit being like, I'm out there, i'm uh I'm close. I'm reachable. You can reach me. The world, shows, especially in this deck, actually, right? Because it's Slavic themed, it shows the three worlds: the underworld, where our ancestors reside, the middle world, and the upper world, where souls kind of go to reshape or be reforged and reincarnate again. So anyway, when I see the world card in this context, she's maybe letting you know that she's out there, and just very, very gently nudging you towards trying to establish some kind of contact. Maybe it might be worth trying, I think. And the world card is a major, so it's not like maybe it's a yes, there's something out there for sure, you know so I hope that maybe inspires some spirit contact. All right. Occult Whispers asks, Hi, I've been having some synchronicities these past months and wanted to ask if there's any deity or spirit reaching out to me, or if there's something else I have to pay attention to. All right, let's see. Just so you know, like, I will probably not be able to tell you if there is a spirit or deity, who it is exactly, because that would require a much bigger reading. But let's see what's kind of showing up, and depending on that you can maybe take some further action to basically see if there's somebody, who it is, or all that kind of good stuff. So but for now you are asking if there's any spirit or deity because of the synchronicities, or if there's something else you have to pay attention to. Oh, okay. We got 8 of Wands and 3 of Swords. So 8 of Wands is like this swift message from beyond. So I would say there's definitely something to it. Like somebody's trying to reach you, send a message and get it delivered ASAP. And apparently it has something to do with that being feeling some kind of heartbreak or maybe grief or dealing with some difficult emotions. So just be wary that this, I don't know if it's like an ancestor. Usually when we see this type of like kind of dark emotional energy, not dark in the sense of like scary or nothing like that, nothing evil, I wouldn't read it like that at all, so don't freak out, please. But just um having some difficult emotions that this spirit is dealing with, it usually for me comes up in the context of like the dead, so an ancestor or another spirit of a dead human, because it's just more common, at least in my experience, to see spirits of the dead having those types of emotions. But just to be on the careful side, always with spirit contact. And I'm guessing, if you're asking, that you haven't done any divination of your own to inquire about this. So just to like be safe, always make sure that if you're reaching out and trying to see further like who this might be, take into consideration that there's always at least a tiny chance that it might be a malicious spirit that's trying to maybe leech something off of you or use you in some regard, if it's got these like difficult emotions around it. If it's an ancestor, then it's nothing to be worried about. It probably has to do with like having to do some ancestor work, maybe helping a dead person move on or deal with something. This can be done with like just regular ancestor work. So, but this definitely seems like somebody's trying to reach out and show you, look, there's like this issue I have, basically. Maybe try to inquire deeper about who this may be, and see how to proceed. Okay, that's what I'm getting. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Short Vier says, "Hi, I would love to know what is coming my way in general. I am stressed about my academic stuff. Family life is kinda in shambles. Love life is stuck, and so many changes are happening." That already sounds like a lot to deal with. So let's see what's coming your way in general in this situation. Look, it seems we got the Seven of Wands, right? So this is kind of like a card of uh, dealing with difficulties, basically dealing with some kind of strife, some kind of conflict, uh, finding yourself in a rather like a difficult spot where you feel attacked from all sides. Like there's just so much shit all at once. So it may feel like too much to bear at some point. And in this deck in particular, we have this I forget what he's called. Vervidom. Oh yeah, that's the guy. He's carrying two entire oak trees that he himself like uprooted with the sheer strength that he possesses. So it's definitely showing that you do have the strength to deal with it. And it's not like you are going to be overwhelmed or defeated by it, even though mentally it may feel like that sometimes, because it's just so fucking much and there seems like there's no break from all of that's happening, and you maybe feel kind of like surrounded from all sides, with all the bullshit that's occurring right now. But just so you know, you definitely do have the strength to deal with it. It might take some time, and maybe if you feel like it's kind of a pain in the ass to be dealing with all of that shit all at once, reach out to somebody for help. It might actually help make this entire situation smoother to deal with. If you don't want to reach out to humans, because we know like that's not always helpful actually, just know that your ancestors and the spirits that are around you, um, they always have your back. I hope that helps. And I wish I had like, some kind of very positive card to give you, but it just seems like it's not ending just yet. Like there's a bit more that you have to kind of endure to get yourself on the other side of this entire situation. So just catching up with the chat. I'm glad that you folks kind of share the same sentiment of not enjoying readings that are all just positive and rainbows and pink farts and all of that. Because yeah, that's not life. Yeah. Okay, so JLPJ is asking, I find so many incredible forks in my road. I know I can accomplish any of these paths, however, not each one at once. Okay, so I'm guessing you're finding yourself kind of at the crossroads. Any guidance to find my way to my highest frequency for the greatest good? I don't really deal with frequency stuff and all that, but I'm going to inquire about the best path forward for you. That's the most beneficial for you, and basically where you should be going right now for your own good. Does that sound okay? Okay. So we got a jumper and a jumper, two jumping cards. So the first one that jumped out at me is the Lovers, and it's indeed a card that's indicating some kind of maybe choice that's before you, and it may be hard to make because it just seems like you don't have a clear preference, or maybe two of the options that you have, even though there may be more than two, maybe two of them seem more um tempting than the others, basically, right? So what we got second is the King of Cups, and this card is clearly indicating that you know perhaps, just perhaps, I might be wrong, I'm just pulling cards here, but maybe you have been kind of avoiding to look at where you are emotionally, and not really listening to the what your emotions and your body and the kind of entire soma is trying to tell you, in terms of making a choice. Sometimes you might be tempted to maybe push things in a more like badass or brave direction, but it seems like it's not the time right now. You should be focusing on your emotional well being, making sure that you are not dissociating from your emotions, that you are not cutting them off. When I see somebody speaking of high frequency and stuff like that, I can't help but think of, kind of ignoring the mundane in favor of looking somewhere out there and reaching some, you know, greatest good or highest potential and that kind of stuff. Maybe this is not the time, Make sure that you feel nurtured, make sure that you are feeling into your body and listening for what it actually needs. And this is the path forward for you right now that will benefit you the most. This is where you should be going. At least that's what I'm getting. So I hope that's helpful to you. Okay. Let's put all these cards together. Okay, Rose Husby, I hope I said the name correctly, says, I want to know what is my next step on my spiritual path. Let's see. What is the next step you should take? Is there a possibility that you feel like you are kind of down or defeated in some way in your practice or your spiritual path right now? Because that's what the Five of Swords is indicating, that there's something lingering like some kind of feeling of inadequacy, or like that you failed something, maybe some kind of expectation that you had towards yourself that you didn't meet exactly? Is there like something basically lingering in the background when it comes to those feelings, or of either like imposter syndrome maybe, or not feeling like you're doing enough on your path? I'm kind of getting that vibe from these Five of Swords. But then the answer to that is Seven of Coins, which is telling me that you might be finding yourself in a situation where you shouldn't be doing much like actively, but instead wait for something to become fully mature. Like there's some kind of ongoing process that you are in right now that is not complete yet. And maybe you are kind of rushing to go to the next stage, or like start something exciting, do something new, that kind of stuff. I know, because we all get there sometimes and we are like giddy to do something basically. But the Seven of Coins is showing that something's kind of ongoing for you, some kind of process that you started, or maybe the spirits around you started and you haven't picked up on yet, that needs to be allowed to be completed, to fully mature, so that you can then harvest the fruit of that. I don't know if you're like, because sometimes when I do these readings, people will know intuitively what I'm talking about exactly. So if you do, that's great. If you don't, I would personally inquire about the details of that. Like maybe ask my spirits, look, folks, is there like something that I'm missing that you maybe wanted me to pick up on, that's kind of like pending, that I need to focus on right now? Because yeah, there might be something like that out there, that you should be inquiring the spirits about, to ensure that you're not missing something. And that would be the solution to this feeling of like, imposter syndrome, or feeling like you're not doing enough. But either way, it just feels like this needs to be resolved before you take any like new steps on your path. That's what I would be focusing on personally. I hope that helps. Just wanted to remind everybody that if you want me to answer questions, please put them in the chat in caps lock so that they are clearly visible. But meanwhile, I just noticed somebody who, Latoya, who wrote their question not in caps lock. Let me see. Who wants to be back in communication with me? Possible zodiac signs of the person. Look, I don't really work with astrology and that kind of stuff, so I can't tell you somebody's possible zodiac signs. I can pull a card and we can see who wants to be back in communication with you, and we will see what comes up. But I'm not the kind of reader who, does this. It just seems like more in the scope of relationships, love readings. At least that's the vibe I'm getting here. So I'm not sure if I'm kind of receiving it correctly. But let's see who wants to be back in communication with you. That's interesting. Okay, so we got Two of Coins. And normally this is like, the card of balancing, making sure that you are on equal footing, that kind of situation. But what I'm getting here as a kind of intuitive message is that somebody who's like about money in some way towards you. So just like I would be wary personally, honestly. Like again, no clue about zodiac signs and that kind of stuff. But whoever it is, they might like want to gain something from you potentially. So just like be on the lookout for the signs of that. It might not be the best situation basically. Just gotta make sure you're not allowing somebody to take advantage of you, that kind of a deal I'm getting. So yeah. Hope that helps. Um, let's continue. LDP says, should I be actively seeking a new job or staying focused on my current job? Let's see. I think whatever is the situation that you're in, we got the tower, so it seems like changes are incoming, you know? So whatever you were kind of gearing yourself towards, it might turn out to be different than you expected. So yeah, it does seem like changes, so potentially seeking for a new job or generally just looking out for changes that are incoming. I'm not sure like what's your current situation at work. Is there some kind of like drama or uncertainty of some kind, like something going down like behind the surface that might erupt anytime? That's kind of the vibe I'm getting, but I'm not sure if that's correct. So either way, like, the tower indicates that there's definitely something that's going to be toppled over, some kind of structure that's going to be destroyed so that you can rebuild anew. So maybe just in case, looking for some alternatives to your current job situation wouldn't be a bad choice to make, just to make sure that there's something that you can pursue potentially if shit goes down. That's what I'm getting. Well, good luck either way, because it seems like something intense is around the corner. Oh, you got the tower as a card of the week. Well, there's definitely something to it then, If it pops up twice, you know, it is what it is. Okay, the next question is from It Is a Wonderful World. What kind of book topic should I read about in witchcraft or witchcraft? Let's see. That's kind of a fun question. I never pulled cards for stuff like this. Let's see if we can identify the kind of maybe niche within witchcraft that you should be reading about next. Maybe I should start doing readings like that for myself now that I think about it. Like, which book should I read about? Like, can I pick up something from like necromancy or maybe, I don't know, some like plant work or maybe some, working with familiars or whatever. Yeah, let's see what pops up for you. What kind of book topic you should be reading about right now. That's really fun. Yeah. I love it. Ooh, okay. Well, we got 10 of swords. So that's like anything that has to do with death work, you know. Take a peek. Something that has to do with death magic. This can also be like working with the ancestors, but usually I would see the death card like from the majors as that, and the 10 of swords as more like death in the more broad category. So maybe like either some aspect of necromancy, or maybe working with bones. This picture would kind of indicate that, as we have a full skeleton of an animal present. Yeah, sounds like fun for sure. Okay, the next question is from Miel Russell. I hope I said your name correctly. I am very excited to be pursuing my master's degree this fall. What advice may my ancestors have regarding this big step? Let's see what they have for you. Okay, so we got the Seven of Coins, which already came up once on this stream. In the context of pursuing your master's degree, I would say that your ancestors are telling you that this will not be a linear process. And if you are the kind of person who really likes to have some kind of a plan, or like break things down into stages that are, like make things easier for you to basically anticipate what you should be doing next or focusing on next, like in terms of writing maybe your thesis, or I don't know if you will be doing some research or stuff like that, because I don't know what kind of degree that is. But either way, if you are the kind of person who's expecting this to be predictable in some way, maybe take into consideration that some things are a tiny bit out of your control in this regard. Some things need to like mature at their own pace. Sometimes some of the stages that you will be dealing with during this degree depend on other people as well. And as we know, like we can't really control if somebody else is going to follow a deadline, stuff like that. So basically, anticipate that things might take longer than you thought they would, or something will go out of schedule, or otherwise some additional factors will come into play that might kind of disrupt your schedule. If you are the kind of person who likes having things clearly laid out, that's the kind of message I'm getting here. Either way, good luck. That's very exciting. Okay, let's see next. Bella Jennifer is asking just any messages from the ancestors. Let's see what the ancestors want to tell you right now. Whew. Aw. We got two cards again. We got the Fool and the Ace of Swords. So it seems to me like they are encouraging you to maybe find some kind of, freedom this summer. Allow yourself to maybe fool around, literally, right? Do something that you enjoy. Maybe if you feel like there's a lot going on in your life, then allow yourself to slow down the pace. If you feel like things are a bit boring, maybe pick up the pace instead. Just switch things around. Allow yourself to explore feelings, explore options at your disposal. Just be open to what's out there. Maybe if somebody invites you to something, just say yes. That kind of a situation. And with the Ace of Swords, I'm definitely seeing that there's something that has to do with um like a message that's out there for you. This could have something to do with a study you should pursue, like maybe exploring something, either like with your creative endeavors or maybe your craft, something like that, something intellectual for sure that's out there for you to explore and just be very open to. That's what I'm getting. I hope that's helpful, but it seems like something exciting to approach for sure. Okay. Okay. So just a reminder, if anybody wants me to still answer your questions, please type them in caps lock. But I am seeing, I never know how to say your username. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Shit, I'm gonna butcher it. The Spökenkicker? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I see your question, so I'm going to answer it next. I'll be finishing up my bachelor's thesis soon, and I'm just wondering how that will go. Let's see. That's so exciting, though. I'm happy for you. Oh, that's nice. Okay, we got the Three of Wands. So this is a card of like you are at this stage where you already planned everything, you worked for it, you are kind of in this stage where you are already seeing the horizon of what you're approaching, like the finish line basically, and it seems like it's within your grasp right now. And from this card, it's like an open potential. You are about to embark on a journey. It's out there for you, it's within your grasp, it's open to you, and you are invited on this journey. So I would say like this is a positive sign personally, that everything's going to go great. Yeah. Oh my god, was it a good pronunciation? I'm glad then, because I totally was just like, winging it. uh, okay. Do we have any more questions? Because I'm not seeing any. So if we don't have any more questions, let me just take a sip. Then we will be slowly wrapping up. I prepared some other decks, like the Pagan Otherworlds, but I kind of just got in the flow so much that I didn't even switch them around. Maybe another time. Uh, I was thinking, by the way, I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but I was wondering if maybe it could be fun to do these seasonal live streams, maybe inviting some guests potentially next time, like having somebody to talk about a specific topic at the beginning, or maybe have like a joint Q&A or something interesting themed around the seasonal theme, and then having both the participants, so me and the guests, doing readings for you together. That would kind of maybe be fun. I'm just thinking about options to make this more fun and exciting, so let me know what you think, folks. Yeah, I think that would be fun as well. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I'm so glad that my pronunciation was so good. Ah! Okay, cool. Cool, cool. Okay, I will think about that then, about inviting somebody. And it could maybe be fun to like invite maybe members of our community instead of like always going for influencers and stuff. So yeah, I will definitely bring this up on Discord, and maybe some of you folks would actually like to hop on the live with me. That could be fun. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think we are going to be wrapping up. So I'm really glad that you all showed up and we had some fun together, talking about the lore of beavers at the beginning, and then having some readings. So this was really lovely, and I'm glad we were able to catch up. So either way, thank you so much, folks, for coming, and hopefully see you around soon. Bye.